From Pennsylvania all the way down to Florida, today we are stopping in with Peter Fenton, someone who I connected with on social media and has a powerful mental health journey to share. Peter, welcome to a mental health break.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. We've been following each other for a couple of years on social media now, right?
It's nice to get you connected here. I saw a post previewing mental health relation here and there. So that's when I start to reach out to guests on social media. It's you never know where you're going to find people that want to share their story, whether it's social media, it's a networking event. I try to do a little bit of everything because of the powerful stories that are out there. If this is your
Yeah.
first time joining a mental health break, this is the show that normalizes the
It,
conversation around mental health.
Thank you. It's really exciting to be here, and like everybody has a story to tell, like in every possible industry, every possible type of life experience. We all have mental health, even if like our relationship with mental health, no matter what it is, everybody has one. So when we all have stories to tell. So very excited to be here.
Absolutely. Just like a physical health, we all do have a mental health. And while we're talking about everybody having a different story, let's hear part of your story relating to mental health.
Great. Where do you want to start? Because like that's a huge question. Where my goodness. I mean, I've been in therapy a couple times. I am so I guess I'll start by talking about like who I am, what I do, and because I think a lot of who I am, what I do is informed by the mental health journey. So I'm a playwright and screenwriter and producer of both film and theater. Um, I I actually really like the article that we're going to talk about later. I really like the headline, how writing helps process trauma. I don't know if that was the exact wordage, but that is 100% true in my own writing. I would say growing up, I have a wonderful relationship with my family and my parents. I come from a great family. I went through some difficult pieces of the journey. I grew up in a very conservative religious community. Um, and that was if anybody has seen the recent like Duggar's documentary IBLP, Shiny Happy People, it wasn't quite that, but that was like the direction the sort of community I came from was heading. And I am gay. So like growing up gay in that community, it was just this weird situation of being very deeply invested in the religious community. And I would say that I still have some degree of faith to this day. But just like disentangling myself from that just very closed-minded world. The world's very black and white. You're either in or out. And as a gay person in that conservative Christian world, I was out. So there's a lot to unpack there. That's like the really quick version of the story. I mean, there's the multiple hours long version of the story. There's probably going to be the memoir version of the story someday, when I'm age appropriate to write a memoir. But yeah, I mean, a lot of, like I said, I've been through therapy a couple times. I have a supportive family and supportive friends, and whatever. But yeah, it's like it is. Yeah, I mean that's the quick version of the story. I think if you have questions, I think I engage really well with questions.
Well, you,
Um,
you, you mentioned that you had a tough time in the conservative Christian world growing up. When times were getting really tough for you, when things were challenging, what are some things you did to improve your mental health, put yourself in a better mindset?
Therapy. It's the cliched answer. I know
Right.
that. But really, I think the first step toward that is being able to figure out who your real friends are, and figure out like be comfortable to voice that you don't know what
Mm.
to do. Um, I think just being able to put words to what it is you're going through. And I mean, obviously, I was born as a gifted wordsmith, so I'm very fortunate that I have been able to verbalize my story and my feelings. But I think just being able to start that conversation with friends and then finding when it's appropriate to take it to professional help. Because like friends love you, friends support you, family can love you, support you. But it really, like, there's only so far that people can help who are untrained professionals. And a great friend will be able to support you along the way and also recognize when they've reached the end of what they can do as a friend, and help you get the help that you need. So I think it's just like having the courage to be vulnerable and to verbalize what it is you're going through. That's the whole thing.
I like you're touching on a lot of great points there. Communication. I think that's something that is huge, and putting the right people in your circle. It's okay as you get older, we drift apart from different people, different groups of people, just things change. But being able to surround ourselves with people we trust enough to be vulnerable, like you're saying, that's really when we get our most healing. It's not easy out there for everyone. Mental health journey, we have our ups and downs in life. We just try to do our best we can. When the downs, especially in entrepreneurship, as you know as well, the ups are great, and the downs go down very deep, and then up and down, and there's all mental health tied to that. But for both of us, we have a bit of writing tuned into our mental health tool chest. We both are big fans of writing. For me, it will take my mind off whatever is going on. I just get in the zone, and in the beginning, I could find myself when I'm writing this book behind me, Left for Dead, hours and hours and hours, 10 hours, like in the beginning, first book, just so obsessed with the process because of the mental health benefits. But do you have any advice for anyone out there, Peter, struggling today, that you can help them get through a tough time? But before we get to that, I'd love to hear a quick word from our show sponsor, Tampa Counseling and Wellness, and you could find all of their information in the show description.
Are you constantly exhausted and overwhelmed? Do you struggle with your confidence or self-esteem? Are you ready to live a life with more passion, courage, and excitement? At Tampa Counseling and Wellness, we want to be there for you every step of the way. While we understand that change may be difficult, we have a proven track record of helping our clients live a more joyous and meaningful life. Whether you are looking to overcome some current life challenges or you are looking to do some deeper healing, we are here to help you. Our compassionate approach to therapy is rooted in building your confidence and insight while helping you gain mastery of your life. If you would like to learn more about our services or you would like to schedule a free consultation with one of our clinicians, please visit us at www.tampacounselingandwellness.com or simply call or text us at 813-520-2807. We look forward to growing with you, Tampa Counseling and Wellness, where it is okay to not be okay.
I recently heard, and like, this is kind of generic advice, I know this, but I recently heard, if you don't have thoughts in your head, read. If you have too many thoughts in your head, write. So like, for whatever reason, when I heard that, I was like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like, if you are, like, I think a lot of my own mental health journey has been like so much rattling around in my head that like I had to get something out creatively to process some of this emotion. I mean, processing through what we go through is hard, and it's hard if you don't have some kind of creative outlet, and creative outlet could look different on everybody. So like to take that generic advice a little further, I would say figure out something that you enjoy, something that you enjoy creating, or just enjoy throwing yourself into. Like, I know a lot of people play music, a lot of people write, a lot of people cook. Maybe cooking is a creative outlet. That's certainly not mine, but could be somebody's thing. Just like getting yourself doing something that could be enjoyed by somebody. It could be just for yourself, but it could be something that you could end up sharing with people.
Creativity is one of the best mental health boosters out there, being creative. And you can create with words. As you mentioned, someone that likes to cook, they can create with food and ingredients. You're crushing it today. I think those are just really important points that I always try to stress. Again, the courage to be vulnerable, having that support
Yeah.
group around you is very, very important. I even as an entrepreneur, I do most of the things on my own, but I can't do them on my own. I have Zooms like right now today, putting these podcasts together. We need that human to human interaction. Don't get
Yes.
isolated as entrepreneurship tends to get too quick. But before we go back to that spotlight story, that writing can help us hear from trauma
Yeah.
article, you can scroll down in the show description to follow along with Peter and I. The floor is yours, Peter. Before we get to that, is there anything else you would like to touch on relating to mental health? Anything else you have going on in your life?
Well, so it's interesting that, we're talking about creativity and the way that, I've processed through mental health with creativity. I will, of course, plug my two projects that are out there right now. For the listener at home who may not know me, I just had a show premiere off-Broadway.
Very cool.
It's
Congrats.
called Abandon All Hope. It is, it's a story that was very much born out of my relationship with mental health, and also the religious trauma aspect of it too. It is a dramedy play that follows three college freshmen who have died and arrived in hell. The demon who's in charge of them challenges them to a game. The winner will go to heaven at the cost of the other two's eternal torture. So that's like the basic story description.
And you're the director of this play.
Writer and producer. I actually did not
Producer.
direct it. But I obviously wrote the script and I made the stars align so that the art could happen. I'm only like 28 years old. I barely know. I barely know.
That's an incredible accomplishment at your age already to write and produce this play. I'll have to ask you before we go live to send any link or any more information on that play.
Absolutely.
And you mentioned you have one more project.
Yeah. I'm gonna close the loop on the Abandon All Hope thing because I was going somewhere with that. What I did in the process of creating that show, I wrote that in quarantine.
Right.
When I was isolated by myself, in, my 500 square foot apartment, that I live in alone. And I basically took my three big insecurities that I've had to work through mental health wise, and I have personified them through these three main characters who are going through hell. And so I've just taken this journey, and one of them is like a really religious person. One of them is an activist who is not, like, when push comes to shove, she's not actually as progressive as she projects to be.
Right.
And another one is a guy who's reconciling with his sexuality and owning who he is. And so I took those three characters and have really just processed, especially who I was in college. And I was able to develop this story and process so much on the page that was like really intended just for me, just to make peace with my past and such. But people have been resonating with this show. And I think that the courage to be vulnerable and to share, to process on the page creatively, I think there's potential by getting specific. You can actually spread a really broad message to people of hope and of, life and humanity. Because despite the title Abandon All Hope, I do actually intend to leave people with a little more hope than they had coming in.
Well, I think you're not alone, and other people are not alone, and that's exactly what you're showing everyone out there, that your story can relate to other people, that they're not alone battling that journey. I think that's really, really important work. And you mentioned you're only 28, so only bigger things to come.
Yeah. I actually don't know when this episode's coming out. I'm still 27, but my birthday's coming up soon. But the other project that I've got going on also happens to be mental health related. This is a short psychological thriller that I've written for Dadley Productions. It's an independent film studio in central Pennsylvania. The director, Brad Hawkins, and I wrote the script together, following a man who intends to end his life on air. He's a radio DJ who has been pushed to the breaking point and is like kind of tripping out, and he's in this really dark place. But then a fateful phone call changes what's going on his live radio show. It's a short film. It's like 30 minutes long, but it is powerful. Just the way that we have shaped the story and the way that the director had these actors portray this really powerful moment of, saving a life. And
well, you have to get me those links right when you're done with this. That way I can make sure I put those in the description. I'm sure there'll be a lot of people tuning in today who would love to learn a little more.
Yeah. Night Voices is currently out on the film festival circuit. There are a couple film festivals around the country where it is being shown, but I can definitely send you the link to the IMDb page, and
whatever I can do to help you and let other people become aware of your work.
Yeah. So both excellent projects. We're working on trying to get the next staging of Abandon All Hope somewhere in central Pennsylvania, probably. We have a couple leads on places to stage that show. We're hoping for like a real run off Broadway or on Broadway. We just had one performance a couple weeks ago. But great show, great cast. We sold out. Everyone loved it. I don't know. Things are looking up. I think the work that I've been doing is going to be touching a lot of people, and I'm so happy.
Well, I think
a lot of this is for me.
I think you're on your way to doing bigger and bigger things in the mental health world. That's why I had a feeling you'd be a great fit for this show. And you just heard a lot about how he takes care of his mental health on a larger scale, but we do not all have to write on that scale to improve our mental health. Scroll down in the episode description to follow along this Harvard Business Review article. It's titled "Writing Can Help Us Heal from Trauma." I'm going to go over a bit of it, and then we'll bring back Peter on to hear his take. A certain kind of guided, detailed writing can not only help us process what we've been through and assist us as we envision a path forward, it can lower our blood pressure, strengthen our immune systems, and increase our general well-being. Expressive writing can result in reduction in stress, anxiety, and depression, and improve our sleep and performance, bringing us greater focus and clarity. I can certainly agree with that. These effects of writing as a tool for healing are well documented, and if you go into this article, you'll see a couple research studies shown. One showing back in 1986, it showed the impact of writing on mental health. Since then, 200 research studies have been reported that emotional writing can improve people's physical and emotional health. If you scroll down in the article from there, we see writing that heals and a few ways we can get going. Everyone out there practicing writing on your own. If you're interested in trying it out as a tool for healing, these are 3 practices with prompts to get you started. I'll preview them now. The first is don't hold back. The writing is for you. First and foremost, don't worry about grammar. Don't worry about spelling. Don't worry about what anyone else might think or if it's well written or fair. Set a timer, for example, 10 minutes. Keep your head moving and free write. Don't overthink. Write your own words, notes, sentences, phrases. Everything will bubble up and you can combine it later. 2, no detail too small, no feeling too large. Someone in this article is referred to as quoting this. To get the feelings and the truth of your experience, let your mind go to the detailed, specific moments. Power is in the details because they make it real for us. Access what really happened by returning it to even the small moments, the minute, that ground you in the experience. You might find the smallest detail brings out the largest truth or feeling. Make room for all of that and capture your experience in its vastness and depth. And number 3, reach for revelation, and be sure to scroll down here to get the prompts on all 3 of these. As the world has altered around us, we've been altered too. We may have learned what matters, what doesn't, what gets us through. We may have learned about ourselves. Reach for those lessons as you write, and I love that. Peter, what are some of your takeaways from this write-up from Harvard Business Review?
I'm inclined, if Harvard says something, it's probably worth listening to.
Yeah, for sure.
I think this is fantastic. Especially that first point that the writing is primarily for you. Like, the one thing that I don't want people to take away from listening to my story is that, you have to go and make this your career.
Mhm.
Nobody should feel that way, but writing and creating art, and I think that this can apply to a lot of the other creative pursuits we were talking about, like photography or music or, cooking or whatever. I think that, no detail is too small and no feeling is too large. We were able to create these feelings are able to be much more manageable when we can put them into words.
Yes.
And I think finding the words to describe what's going on I don't know. I'm not a certified mental health professional, so please don't take any of this as professional advice. But
of course.
I feel like it can make these problems a bit smaller, or a bit more like, oh, I can get the help that I need to take this on. This is not quite so big that it will completely consume me. I don't know. There's something there.
I love that. Doing the amount of writing that is best for you. Again, going back to what works for us, I try to stress that all the time. What works for some doesn't work for everyone. We try things in different moderations. I think everyone out there, if you're not a regular writer, if you don't really put pen to paper, you don't really type out anything other than a social media post here or there, or a few emails a day, give it a shot. Like everything, it may take some time. Write for a few days. This is a 5-10 minute timer. I think you'll love the way it makes you feel. And with that, Peter, I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to join our community of mental health advocates. I look forward to checking out these films more in detail. Everyone's going to be able to scroll down. I'll have you send me all of your info. But for everybody tuning in, listening on the road today, where can they find you on the road, online, excuse me?
On the road. Online. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. This was a wonderful conversation. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Peter Fenton. So just like start typing my name, but then stop. Because there's a semi-famous venture capitalist named Peter Fenton who took all my usernames. But you can also find me on Facebook as well. I have a fairly large following on Facebook. It's facebook.com/Peter Fenton. I was able to claim that one. And then you can also find my my website. It's bypeterfenton.com, bypeterfenton.com. And this if something that I said connects with you, please reach out. I would love to hear your story. I would love to point you in any direction that I can to help you, or whatever. This was great. Thank you so much for having me.
You're very welcome. Everyone out there, be sure to go check out all the great content he has. And we are at A Mental Health Break and at Vincent A. Lancy on all social media. Be sure to head to YouTube to check out a behind-the-scenes video clip from today's conversation. We are at Vincent A. Lancy again on YouTube. I think you'll love, because now YouTube has podcasts. I can't stream to YouTube from my hosting site yet, but now they have a podcast thing. So I had to change everything from a playlist to a podcast. But we are there. Check it out, everyone. And Peter's got a lot of great stuff going on. Be sure to head to his content now. And with that, we're signing off from Pennsylvania down to Florida. Thank you again, Peter.
Thank you.